In 1962, the Cold War nearly became a hot war. The communist ruler of Cuba, Fidel Castro, assumed power when he overthrew a US-backed dictator. The US deployed exiled Cubans in an attempt to overthrow his regime, and even tried to have him assassinated. Due to threats made to his life, he agreed to have Soviet missiles sighted on Cuba. As Cuba is very close to the United States, American President John F. Kennedy was fearful of the missiles reaching America, and so ordered a naval blockade to prevent more Soviet missiles being transported to Cuba. Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev agreed to withdraw the missiles in return for a guarantee from President JFK that he would not attack Cuba, as well as agreeing to remove US missiles based in Turkey, which were in striking distance of the Soviet cities. The alliances which were made during World War II were very much alive and well after the war. As Australia had similar beliefs about democracy and free market capitalism like America, Australia sided with them during the Cold War, signing a number of treaties which solidified the alliance, such as the ANZ-US Pact in 1951. This pledge was made between Australia, New Zealand and the United States, where they had to come to each other's defences if attacked. Although New Zealand withdrew from the treaty in the 1980s, these strong international relationships still remain today. Due to the genuine fear of communism in Australia during the 1950s and 1960s, Prime Minister Robert Menzies, the longest-serving Australian Prime Minister, warned Australians of the loss of prosperity and personal freedoms if communism was to make its way to our shores via Asia. Hence the Southeast Asia Treaty Organisation, otherwise known as CEDAW, was signed in 1954, when an alliance between Australia, France, New Zealand, Thailand, Pakistan, the Philippines, the United Kingdom and the United States was made in an effort to unite against communism. Honouring the alliance made between Australia and the United States, Australia became part of the war in Vietnam, where, like the Korean War, the North was controlled by a communist government and the South was backed by the United States. Due to mounting protests back home about Western involvement in the Vietnam War, in 1969 both the United States and Australia commenced withdrawing troops until the end of the war in 1975. All these global events post-World War II have shaped the modern world we live in today.
Created using Powtoon.